Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. And what is part 3 of the Zvezda BM-21 build. So in this video, we're going to concentrate on the fun bit of the kit, if you like, which is the actual rocket launcher system itself, the flatbed, and getting that together. Now we are building the parade version, so we are going to cover all of the tubes with the decals provided, which is a little red star. But what I do propose to do is leave one of the tubes uncovered so we can see that it's a rocket tube, and make it fairly obvious what it is. So we'll have a look at that and I'll see if that works or not. Yeah, so we're getting on to the, as I say, the fun bit of the kit. It's coming together really, really nicely. It's a great kit. So we're going to head down to the bench and get the rocket launch system built. If I could just ask you, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, share the video, leave a comment, tell me what you think, and I'm going to stop talking, go down to the bench and get building. See you very shortly. Okay folks, so welcome back to the bench and we're cracking on. So in the last video we saw up to this bit, really step 30, where the cab is being attached to the vehicle itself, and then we're moving on. So we're starting to build the flatbed of the vehicle. So I've done all of this kind of off camera because, as you can see, we are just gluing predominantly flat panels of plastic together. So it's very, very simple, this particular bit, from step 31 all the way down to 35. What we haven't done off camera, so we've added these panels at the back, which I'll show you in a minute, but we haven't added these clear lights, because what we're going to do is paint those off. Once this is all painted, then we'll add these bits to it. So that's why we haven't done that. You can see here where I've annotated clear red, clear orange, etc, etc. So I'll be using Tamiya clear for that. And then that's pretty much it for the flatbed. So that then gets attached to the chassis, and then we're going to be moving on to sort of the front wings, etc, according to the instructions. But we're not in this video. What we're going to do is we're going to skip this bit, essentially, and we're going to move on to step 39, and we're going to start to build the actual launcher system itself, because I think that makes more sense whilst we're doing the flatbed. And then in the video after that, we'll move on to assemble the wings, the bonnet, etc, etc, and then we can add this to it. And obviously we do have the option here of having the doors open, etc. So we may have one door open, definitely, so we can see inside the cab. But that's what we're going to do. So without further ado, as they say, here are the bits. They're just tacked on to these engineers block for purposes of the video currently. So this is the actual flatbed itself. Very, very simple construction. This bit is one piece, and that's the actual flatbed. Then we've got these light clusters at the back, and as I've said, no lighting modules on those yet, because we're going to paint all this first. So that's the actual flatbed. Let's move that out of the way. And then what we have here is kind of just lots of storage boxes, etc, which will sit on the chassis in that sort of position. So that's how it will be. So that's it. So what we're going to do is we're going to get these pieces painted as the rest of the vehicle, and fairly clean, as we're doing the parade day version. So I'm going to get these bits painted, and then we're going to come back and we're going to start to tackle the actual rocket launcher itself, and put this together and see how we get on with that. We're going to have it in sort of a stowed position. So if we look on the last page of the instructions, we're going to have it in this sort of position. We're not going to be having it at an angle or anything else. It will be straight. And then we'll start on the front in the next video. So for now, I'm going to get these bits painted. And then what we're going to do is come back and we'll start to assemble the rocket system itself. So I'll see you very shortly. Hi guys, just a quick interruption. If you're enjoying the video and you're enjoying the channel, can I please ask you to consider hitting that subscribe button, hitting the like button, sharing the video and all that good YouTube stuff. It costs you absolutely nothing and it helps us out massively. Anyway, enough from me. Let's go back to the video. Okay folks, so we're painted pretty much the same as the cab. So we've used LP56 thinned, about 50-50 with leveling thinner. So we've got these pieces here, so they're good to go now. So if we look at the truck as it stands, so we've attached the cab and the spare wheel. So these pieces, we won't actually glue them in place yet, so they'll just be dry fitted for the time being. So that kind of goes in that position, and then that goes in that kind of position, he says. So slides like that, and obviously once they're glued, they'll be in a secure position. So that's the kind of truck with the flatbed, etc. Now if we move that out of the way and have a look at the instructions, so we're kind of at this point here, 36. Then it's telling us to move on and assemble the front of the truck, which we're not going to do at this stage. What we're moving on to is the rocket launcher assembly itself. So off camera, we put this bit together, which will then go into this bit, or these pieces that we've put together in these steps, step 39, and now we're sort of at the step 40 phase where we construct this. So looking at the instructions, there we go. What we're looking at is kind of this lifting, rotating mechanism. So we're just going to dry fit it for now. We're not going to use any glue at this stage. So looking at the instructions, we want this kind of serrated edge away from the curved edge. So it just kind of slots in to that position like so. And it will go down, as you can see, as far as that. Then we attach these sort of side pieces. So we've got two locating holes and then the main hole there for the lifting mechanism itself. So we're just going to push those into place for now. Make sure that everything is in kind of the right position. And straight away, it seems that doesn't quite fit in the right position. So what that leads me to believe is if we look at step 40, it's telling us the serrated edge is away from the curved edge. That's what it's kind of leading us to believe. But I think, looking at the pieces and how they fit together, it doesn't seem particularly snug. And the reason is that I've got it upside down. So this actually fits in this piece here, where we've got these grooves and leads to a circle at the top. So that is completely me not looking at the instructions properly. And then these pieces now should just push into place like so. And there we go. That's a much better fit. And then obviously we've got this side bar here, which fits on top. So we don't need to put that in straight away. And then this piece here should fit, hopefully, on that bit there. He says, so obviously without any glue at this stage, quite tricky. But the reason I'm not adding glue is because I want to check, once we have the rocket system onto it, the kind of elevation, and does it move? The instructions aren't clear as to whether we put glue on that piece or not. So we're going to struggle without glue. But this large wheel here, so if I get my pointy stick, this bit, I'm not going to add any glue there, because I don't think that if we glue that, then we're not going to have any elevation in the piece at all. So we're going to leave that, and what I am going to do is add glue to the smaller pieces, and this sidebar here. Show that a bit more there. That sidebar there. So I'm not going to glue these big pieces here, because we want to try and maintain some elevation, but we'll glue everything else, because otherwise we're going to struggle to get it together. So normal Tamiya extra thin works flawlessly on pretty much everything styrene. So if we put this piece in here, we've got it the right way around now. And what I'm going to do is just add some very small spots of glue on these pieces here, but not on the large locating point. So if we manipulate it enough, and we're in. And extra thin's great because it bites pretty much instantaneously on styrene, and that should allow us now, if I put some spots there as well, that should allow us to assemble this piece. I didn't want to use glue initially, but it is what it is. We don't want it falling apart or painting it all separated, then having to scrape paint off so we can glue it, etc., etc. So we'll do it this way, and there we go. So what we have now is this elevation still exists. I mean, you could glue it. If you know you're never going to adjust the elevation, then you could glue it. But for now, we will leave it unglued. And then what we need to put in, so if we move that out of the way, we'll put this top bar in. It looks to me, looking at the instructions, it goes that way. So that's going to go as a support mechanism or a support strut at the front of that, like so. So yeah, that's fine. So we'll do that. So we'll put a spot of glue there and there, and then we'll put that in place. And then what we'll do is just make sure that's nice and square. So if I get my steel ruler and just make sure that it's nice and square, we don't want it at any sort of jagged angle, and then that piece sits and rests on the bit that sticks out at the front there. And there is the lifting mechanism essentially. So that's great. So that just needs painting. Luckily, what we can do, because even though it's a parade day version, we will put some wear along this serrated edge here, some chipping, etc. Because obviously this would be in pretty much constant use up and down, etc. So we need to do that. What we have done off camera is we've started so step 41 is the actual rocket tubes. Very, very simple, and I'll show you. So they come, there's 4 sets of rocket tubes, and they come in 2 pieces. So what you can see is we've got holes on one piece and locating pins on the other, and essentially it just sandwiches together like so, and you glue it. So this one is clamped and glued, but it should now, all being equal, be nice and glued together, which it is, and that's what you're kind of left with. But what you will notice is you've got a seam that runs along the edge here on both sides, but that's just a bit of quick sanding. UMP sanders make light work of that, and then we get to this stage, So what this is primed and painted again in the LP 56, and that creates that. What I did do in order for painting, because you're never going to see this bit, this is covered, so I just drew a very small hole in the center so I can mount the parts on a toothpick cocktail stick for painting, and then we end up with this. So then the idea is that what happens, again, you can see on the grey plastic there, we've got these locating pins, and then what we have are holes here. So the idea being that once these are all together, they kind of fit like so, which forms, or will form, our rocket system. Because we're doing the parade day version, there is covers for the rocket tubes. Now obviously with an operational vehicle they wouldn't be covered, but if we look at step 41 here, we have these covers and they're going to protect the tubes from any sort of dust or debris, etc. Now on the parade day version we have decals to go on each cover, which are these sort of red stars. So what we're going to do, most likely, because they're white, the decals, is we're going to paint these covers white. And I'll use just Mr. Surfacer 1500 white, probably. Paint all the covers white and then decal them all the way down. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 10 decals on each piece. We'll do it off the main bit so we can get it nice and accurate, nice and straight. And you can see, hopefully the camera will pick it up, we do have these sort of indentations and patterns on the covers, so we need to let the decals kind of bed in to those. So that's what we'll do off camera, and I will get the rest of these glued, sanded, painted and put together in this sort of sandwich idea. And then the reason we get away with drilling the holes for the center so we can paint them is, you can see top and bottom we have these sort of cover pieces, so that's absolutely fine. Then we're just going to attach the rocket tube covers. We've got some sides to go on, and then it just fits on top of the mounting system. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to get all this constructed. It's very, very simple. Flat plastic panels, and the mechanism itself, which you can see there, is very, very simple, hand operated by the looks of it. And that's what we're going to do. And that takes us right to the end of step 42. And then we're on the last page of the instructions. So we're constructing the doors, we're putting the rocket system on to the flatbed, etc, etc, and then it separates version 1, version 2. So it's telling us we can have the doors open with the bonnet open, etc, or we can have it all closed up. We're going to do a bit of a mix. So the idea being is I'm going to have the driver's door open, the bonnet removable so we can still see the engine detail if we choose to, and then we'll finish the vehicle off. But what we still need to do is go back through the instructions, and we need to just assemble the front wings and the grille around the engine here, which is step 37. So we're going to go on to that as well, get it all constructed together, and then pretty much we're there. So what I'm going to do is come back in a short while, well, a short while for you guys, a long while for me. Once the rocket assembly is all together, we'll get that done and see what that looks like. And then that will be it for this video. And then in the next video, what we will do is construct the front and get all the front squared up, get it all nice, get light clusters and all that stuff done. And that will be pretty much it for the build. And then it's just final assembly, put it on a base, job good. Job's a good one, as they say. So I'm going to do all this off camera, and I'm going to come back, as I say, in a short time for you, but probably a few hours for me at least, maybe a day or so with drying times, etc. And show you what it looks like when it's all together and good to go. And then when we've done that, we're then probably, in most likeliness, that's not very good English, is it? In all likelihood, we're going to then attach these parts properly to the chassis. So we're absolutely getting there now, and we've got a really good idea of how the vehicle looks, size, etc., etc. So I'll see you very shortly. Okay, folks, so we carry on. We've worked through all of these steps now, and we're pretty much done with the rocket launcher, which will lead us to the final page of the instruction, doors, etc. But we need to do the front, don't we? So that will be in the next video. But for now, we've completed the rocket launcher. So here it is. So as you can see, this is all done. I did leave one tube open to kind of show what it is. All the decals are in place. We painted the back rocket covers in red, and added all these tiny tubes and everything else onto the rocket launcher, and we're pretty much done. So how does that look on the vehicle? So if you look underneath, we have this kind of locating pin here. So if we get the vehicle itself, now what we have managed to do is we've glued in place these pieces here. So we've got the flatbed in place, and once obviously they're done, we've added the rear light clusters as well. And then this essentially fits onto the top, and it will push fit, he says, literally with that locating pin, and that enables you to turn the launcher in whichever direction you want it to go. Obviously we're doing the parade version, so we'll stay in the sort of straight position, but we're not going to glue it, because we want to be able to, certainly when it's in the display case and things, if we want, we can turn the launcher in whichever direction we want it to go. But that's kind of the vehicle. You can see how sizable it is at this scale, and it's a great kit. So we'll move that out of the way. We need to reattach that decal. That's coming a bit loose, but that's fine. That will we can address that. So we'll move that out of the way, keep it nice and safe. So the vehicle itself now has all its wheels on. Everything's done except the front. So the front wings and the bonnet, etc., and the doors. Wing mirrors, all that sort of stuff, which we'll cover in the next video. You can see on the top here, we have painted these now in a chrome silver color, and we'll add the orange clear beacons, light beacons, onto the top of there. And in the next video, we're going to get all this covered up with the front wings, bonnet, add all the wing mirrors on, and then we're pretty much there. We're done. And then we'll think about a base, etc., for it. I can say that this is a fantastic kit. It's highly recommended. If you want to build a modern truck or a rocket launch system or whatever, I'd highly recommend this. It's not a straightforward build. It is quite complex, particularly with the chassis and the engine and everything else. But everything fits. So as I've said before, it's like a mini art kit with no photo etch. That's kind of how I would describe it. Lots of small pieces, but I think you will agree that we're starting to look pretty impressive, not only as a vehicle, but as a kit. It does look nice. So that's it for this video. Please go ahead, hit the like button, subscribe button, leave a comment, let me know what you think. Yeah, and we're getting there. So I reckon one more video and we'll be pretty much done. And this will probably feature on the table at Telford as part of the Big Guns Never Tire group build that we're running on or within the club on the Facebook group. So hopefully you're all taking part in that. You still have to the end of December, so if you want to do a piece of artillery, then you're more than welcome to take part. Follow the link in the description below if you're not a member. You can join the group for free, and then you can take part in the group build. And yeah, I'm very happy with how it's going. A bit of finesse now. Try not to rush it right at the end, which is always a temptation. And I think we'll have a very nice representation of this vehicle once we're all done. So until next time, guys, stay safe and bye for now.